J'espère que tu vas très bien aujourd'hui. You are welcome to another insightful episode on the Study Abroad channel. If today is your first time here, my name is Happy Abuna, a PhD student in chemistry at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, where I also work as a graduate teaching assistant. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today's video is all about interviewing this handsome gentleman on how he got his F-1 visa approved in less than 4 minutes at the Accra Consulate, Ghana. And not to forget, he got approved on his press attempt. That's something very interesting to know how he did it. So my viewers and I are here to know how he did it. So without wasting much time, please stay tuned and let's dive right into the interview. Hello, Boris.
Hello, Happy.
This is not your first time being on this channel. You are welcome once again.
Thank you very much, Happy.
Thank you so much for your commitment. You are very grateful.
You're most welcome, Happy.
So it wouldn't hurt if you reintroduce yourself once again to this channel.
All right. But because you began with a French phrase, I would also like to begin with a French word
Really?
too. Oh, yes.
Okay.
So, merci. My name is Maurice Ekondekubot. I am a KNUST alumni from Kumasi, Ghana, and I'm a current third year graduate student in the University of Tennessee, Knoxville.
Boris, do you mind telling us what motivated you to pursue a PhD in the US?
The huge thing that actually motivated me was the availability of the desired resources for my interests. Exactly. Just like I said in my earlier video about me helping people, I felt that a PhD was going to be a part that will actually help me ease that dream I still have. And this time when I was looking at desired resources that were actually available. That's one of the reasons why I actually chose a PhD in the US.
Oh, okay. That's very good. So to the main interview questions, please take us through the F-1 visa application process step by step.
Why not? So it first began with acceptance or admission. Then from admission, the school decided to send me the desired documents and links to actually begin my visa application process. So I remember I actually had a link from the school. From that particular link, I just clicked on it and there was this form, this visa application form, of which I filled. I think it had to do with a lot of my personal background. Yes, it had to do a lot of my personal background. So when I was done, I had to pay that particular fee for filling that particular form, and I did pay it at I think GT Bank, if I quite remember. So when that happened, I moved on to the next step by trying to, schedule the appropriate date and time for my actual visa interview. Do you understand? And it wasn't easy, but by God's grace, I was able to get a desired date because for you to schedule, sometimes you may actually have to use the emergency route because your acceptance into the school begins maybe a bit too soon. So sometimes you have to actually look at all this, uh, how do I put you have to look at all these stuff and take them into consideration.
Okay.
Yes. So after being able to successfully schedule a date and a time at my appropriate time, I actually had the interview, and by God's grace, I was, granted approval.
Okay.
Then from there, took things to the next level.
Okay, that's good to know. So to the next question, what were the documents you used in applying for this F-1 visa?
Okay, if I remember quite correctly, yeah, it should be an issued I-20. I remember I had my issued I-20. I also had my unexpired passport.
Okay.
I also had my filled DS-160 form.
Okay.
And I also had 2 passport pictures with the desired or the required background color and also size.
Okay.
Yes, if I remember quite correctly.
So viewers, you need to get your issued I-20 from your school.
Exactly.
Okay. The school will give you the I-20. And once you get the I-20, you go ahead, you make sure that your passport is at least 6 months valid. Okay. So it should be 6 months and then beyond. And after that, you should also pay for the visa application fee. You start filling your DS-160 form. That is the form you submit as your visa application form. So when filling the DS-160, at a point, they will require you to submit a passport picture, and that one comes with its own size and background. So make sure you check that one out as well. Yes. So these are basically the documents required when applying for the F-1 visa. Yes. So Boris, talking about interview date, how long did it take you to get an interview date?
So that wasn't easy because
Okay.
I wasn't the only one who was also looking for a desired earlier date. So you had to be on the hands on the internet and all. You understand? So yes. So it took me after applying for an emergency schedule.
Okay.
I think it took me 1 month to get a desired date.
Even with the emergency?
Even with the emergency, a lot of people have been approved for maybe an emergency schedule.
Okay.
Do you understand? And yeah.
Yes, okay. One advice to you, once your admission, you are being admitted, go ahead and start with the visa application process.
Exactly.
Because trust me, it can take more than 6 months. And one thing you can do is to be in groups. So maybe you can be hunting with your friends. So once this one gets to know that there is a date released for this particular day, they will just inform you, and then you also just book that date. It helps, yes. So Boris, on to our next question. Where did your visa interview take place?
It was back in Accra, Ghana.
Oh, okay, okay. What was the schedule for your visa appointment, and what time did you get there?
So I believe mine was at 9 a.m. and by 6 a.m. I was there.
Oh, okay. So you went very early.
I did go very early. I did go very early.
Yes. I remember mine was also at 10:30 a.m. and I got there like 5:45. I went to wait. I don't want to miss this interview for nothing. I've waited for a very long time. So I went there very early and I had to wait, yes. So one question for you. How was the interview at Accra Consulate like?
I was scared. I was scared. I was scared, especially seeing somebody being rejected. Yeah, I saw somebody being approved, but you know how, as humans, we are.
Yes.
We normally,
take the negative.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was really scared. I won't lie to you. I was really scared.
Yes.
Then I think I walked forward to the man who was going to interview me, and it was more of a conversation than an interview.
Oh, okay.
And because I had funding, I think I had the needed stuff to be approved, so it wasn't much of a big deal.
Oh, so you had funding?
Yeah, I did have funding.
Oh, that's great. So do you remember the number of questions you were asked?
I think about just 4 or 5 questions. They were not much. They were not much. They were not much at all. My first question had to do with the school I was actually admitted to.
Okay.
Then my next question was why that particular school.
Okay.
And I pointed out the fact that the school is a good school, a reputable school, and I felt like it's not me choosing them. I felt the school chose me.
Okay.
That was my answer to that particular question. The third question was because my funding had to come with me being a teaching assistant. The interviewer went on ahead to ask me, have I been a teaching assistant before? And I was like, yes, because back in Kenya, I was a teaching assistant.
Okay.
And I also showed him proof by also showing my transcript and I think, yes, one or two things.
Okay.
Yes. I remember he was like, you've been approved. Happy.
How was it?
Happy. It was exhilarating. Happy. I don't know. I actually felt down like, and I think I heaved a sigh of relief.
Really?
Happy. It wasn't easy. Happy. It wasn't easy. Happy.
Yes.
But by God's grace, yeah.
Yes. So for my own experience, I think I was at first when I was seated, relaxing, waiting for the time to come so that I just go. I was very comfortable. But when it was like 30 minutes and then we had to join the queue, I started becoming nervous.
Oh.
And when I entered, there was one lady I entered with, and right in front of me, she got rejected. This lady spoke very well, but she still got rejected.
Exactly.
For the fact that she wasn't having funding.
Oh.
So I became so nervous. But then I just walked to the person who had to interview me. And then she She was very calm and she was friendly. When I got
Exactly.
there, she smiled. I had to smile back.
Exactly.
And she asked me where I was going. I just told her, and she was like, "Which program I mentioned?" And she was like, "Oh, okay. So environmental chemist, right? So you're going to come back to make sure our waters and everything are not polluted. They're going to bring all the plastic from our water
There
bodies,
we
right?"
go.
And I said, "Yes." She said, "Oh, you've been approved." I was like, "Thank you so much."
Oh,
That was a relief for me, honestly, because I was so scared.
I understand that feeling,
I was
happy.
so
I
scared,
do understand
yes.
that feeling. I do
So
understand that feeling.
once they tell you you are approved, you forget about all the sleepless nights you used in searching for dates, in practicing, and the nervousness will come
Hmm.
naturally.
Definitely.
Yes, but try to control it, and then when you get there, don't be too rigid. When the interviewer smiles at you, smile back. The person, he or she is a human like you, and then when he or she says something that is funny, try and then smile. Yes, and make sure to answer their questions correctly. And no one would like to reject a good student.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and once you have funding too, you are good to go. So, Boris, to
Mm-hmm.
my next question,
Mm-hmm.
you had funding and it looks like your interview went so smoothly.
Yeah, I
And
did.
I believe it's because you had funding.
I believe
So, how
so
about
too.
students without funding? What do you think they should do in order to get their visas approved very easily, like you did? Okay, because I know that most of the students in Ghana who don't have funding, they have to travel all the way to another country
Exactly.
just to avoid rejection.
Exactly.
So, what do you think these students should do in order to get their visas approved at the Accra consulate?
Okay, so I feel perhaps having the needed financial document that actually shows that you can actually, afford the education you are going to have overseas is going to be very, very important because
Mm,
definitely you can't go to that, like, you can't travel overseas without having funding for your education. Then it actually, brings a different form of reasoning. So proof of, this financial document that you can actually, sponsor your education, be it from your uncle, relative, or someone, is
okay.
very, very key and important. Yes, I believe there was this student who was sitting in front of me who got approved. He was via scholarship, not
Okay.
necessarily funding from the school, but he had the desired financial document from the collaboration that was actually offering him the scholarship.
Okay.
And just like that, he was eloquent, confident, and he had it.
Okay. Yes. So getting the right financial documentation, and also one thing that most people do, they go with the exact amount that the school needs from them or how much they need to spend in a year on their financial
Mhm.
documentation. And that doesn't seem right. At least it should be a little above total expenses, okay?
Mhm.
It should be a little above that one. It shouldn't be the exact amount. Because if you are going with the exact amount, what if an unforeseen circumstance happens?
Happens.
How are you going to take care of yourself? You are definitely going to be a burden to the US government, and then they wouldn't like that. Okay. So at least have some amount of money which is a little bit above your expenses. And talking about financial documentation, one thing you should also talk about is your ties to your home country. So note you don't have funding, so you are trying to prove to them that you can take care of yourself, but you also try to prove to them that you are going to come back to your country once you are done with your education. Prove a strong home ties to the visa officer. Because with that, they will know that your intention is not to go and stay in the US. You are definitely going to come back and use your education to help in the development of your country.
Exactly.
Yes. So there are so many things you need to do in order to get your visa approved. And these are a few of them you've just stated. Okay. Boris,
Hmm.
your answers to the questions that the visa officers asked were straightforward and in
Exactly.
short. Yes. So I think one thing we would need to tell the viewers is also to provide, don't just provide any generic answer. Just tell them what is about yourself.
Exactly.
Tell them what they need to know,
Exactly.
and it should be very concise because
Exactly.
they are interviewing a
A
lot of
lot of
people
people.
within a day, and
Exactly.
then they won't have time to listen to you. So always bring the important points forward,
Exactly.
right, before saying any other things.
Exactly.
And once they get what they need, they'll even cut off your answers and then ask you another question.
Exactly.
Okay. So, Boris,
Mm-hmm.
what tips do you have for students who are applying for F1 visas?
So I think the tips I have for them is that just get the required documents down, set them aside in a file from day one, so that when it gets to that particular day, you're not missing any documents that will be actually required during your visa interview. That's my
Okay.
number one tip. My second tip is to, you know, I always say make inquiries, ask questions, get accustomed to some of the interview questions, because via social media there have been occasions where people do remember the questions they've been asked and how they answer them. There have been a lot of occasions like that. So you can just look at them and get yourself familiar with these particular questions. You see, just like you did with respect to Ransford. Ransford kept asking you questions here and there. So
Yes.
I believe for some reason you actually became a bit comfortable with some of the questions you may have expected in the future.
Yes.
Yes, so I believe you should also do this, and I think a huge part is also pray.
And to add to that, please get to your or the consulate on time. Get there at least 1 hour before your interview time.
Mhm.
At least 1 hour. Okay. It will be good if you go, let's say, 2 hours before your interview time. It doesn't hurt to
Exactly,
wait. Okay. And then be prepared enough. And also, you leaving home to calculate the traffic you are going to join and all that, and
exactly,
then calculate the right time for you to get
exactly.
there. Yes, and keep practicing. As
Yeah,
Boris just said, get involved in mock sections. There are
exactly,
mock sections all over the internet.
exactly.
Just get involved, and that will prepare you for this visa interview. And when you get there, it will feel like the mock sections you've been doing are even difficult than the questions you were asked.
Yeah, yeah.
Watch YouTube videos, and this YouTube video right here is going to help you as well. So watch YouTube videos, go all over the internet, find questions, similar questions, and then these are the same questions you are going to be asked. If not the same, they are similar ones you are going to be asked during your visa interview day. Okay. And one thing you can do is to be in groups. So maybe you can be hunting with your friends. So
Mhm.
once this one get to know that there is a date released for this particular day, they will just inform you, and then you also just book that date. It
Exactly.
helps. Yes. One last question for you. What advice do you have for students
Mhm,
or applicants who
mhm,
have been rejected? Do you think they should reapply,
mhm.
or what do you think they should do?
I think the first thing to do is first know why you are rejected,
Okay,
then work towards that.
okay,
Because there have been several instances where some people have been rejected on one occasion, two occasions, three occasions, but still reapplied and got it approved. So first thing, I think you should know why you were rejected, then you take things from there.
okay,
You understand? We
okay,
are humans, we make mistakes, but that doesn't mean that we should still keep ourselves down. When we make this mistake, rise up.
okay. Yes. So that was a very good point. First of all, before you take any action at all, know why you were rejected.
Exactly.
So I have this friend. He went for his visa interview on the first occasion. He got rejected. Second time he got rejected. And in both of these cases, they asked him if his mother traveled to the US before. He said no. If any of his siblings are in the US, he said no. And in his second interview, the same thing, he said no. So I don't know what happened. When he was going for his third interview, he said yes. He accepted that his mom has traveled to the US before, and then he has siblings there. He said the truth and he got the visa approved. So all what the visa officers were looking out for was him saying the truth. Because initially he lied and then they have information. So and then they knew that he has siblings outside the country. They knew that the mom traveled outside the country before. But because he lied, he was rejected. And I understood him perfectly because sometimes they are scared that when they tell the visa officers that they have family members
Mhm.
abroad, they may be rejected. But sometimes telling the truth will rather get you approved. Okay. So always go by the truth and
Exactly.
then prepare enough.
Exactly.
Yes.
And please pray. Please pray.
Yes, Boris is asking you to pray, and if you are rejected, this is not the end of the world. It's not that serious, okay? Just reapply,
Mhm.
practice.
Mhm.
Know why you were rejected.
Exactly.
Trust me, you'll be approved.
Mhm.
Yes. So thank you so much for spending time with us, Boris. This is an interesting interview, and trust me, my viewers have learned something from the interview. Thank you once again. So, viewers, this brings us to the end of the F-1 visa application process and how Boris got approved. If you have learned something from this video, please make sure to like the video and then subscribe to this channel, and also let me know when is your visa interview, and in case you need any help with regards to your visa application process, please put that in the comment section and I'll make sure to reach out to you. Okay, so until next time, please take care and keep pursuing your dreams. I love you all. Je t'aime beaucoup.
Merci.
Bye.